Yo, what's up guys, it's Elliot from Urban Farm It here. I was having a chat with my good friend Howard, who owns an allotment down in the Windsheep area in Canterbury. And we were talking about how on earth do you keep your allotment productive, even through winter? Well, naturally, only one thing came to my mind, mushroom growing bed. And which one are we going to do? The fantastic winter oyster. So why do I love this method so much? Well, not only does it produce all year round, but it's really simple and uses just a few materials you see before me here. All you need is a growth substrate. In this case, we're going to use some straw, some cardboard as a weed barrier, and mushroom grain spawn. And that is it. So it's cheap, year-round production, and produces a delicious harvest. So when preparing to do your mushroom bed grow, there's one thing that's really key, and that is to choose the correct type of spawn, but also the correct variety of mushroom. What we've got here is the winter oyster. It's called 2191 on our website, and this is a really hardy mushroom that likes to fruit anything from around 8 degrees to 16 degrees. So you can expect to harvest it right through November and then January and onwards, and if it's a mild winter, even beyond that. If you were going to go into the summer months, you'd start to look at something more like the Ostreatus var Florida, which likes to fruit in temperatures sort of 18 to 23. It is literally just a case of choosing the right one to match up with your environmental conditions. Fortunately, we offer guides on all of that on our website if you wanted to check it out. Now, when you're looking to buy your spawn, there are two primary types that you're going to be looking at. First of all is grain spawn, which is what we have here, but you could also get straw or sawdust spawn as well. This needs a little bit of consideration. The most common one is grain spawn. This is because it offers nutrients to keep the mushrooms alive when they're dormant, and it's also a great carrier that spreads the mycelium nice and evenly throughout your substrate. However, if you do have a rodent problem or a pest problem, for example, you may not wish to use this because it might encourage and draw them in. And in that scenario, something like a sawdust spawn would be far better for you. All right, now we're getting somewhere. So we've got our materials, we've chosen an appropriate species to suit our time of year, and now we just need to identify where we're actually going to do the growing. Fortunately, we have a pre-made bed here, which has been fairly unproductive in past years, so we're going to give mushroom growing a try in here. You don't need such a rigid structure. If you were to be growing just at the end of your garden or something like that, you can build some blocks or logs or any material really, anything just to keep your material in location and stop it from blowing away. Really simple. But the fantastic thing about mushroom growing is that it doesn't have to be limited to just a designated growing space. You'll notice that we have wood chip pathways lined. We've also got, little nooks and crannies where nothing's traditionally growing. If you lay down some fresh substrate and introduce mushroom spawn, you can literally be growing mushrooms from every part of your allotment. So the first thing that we're going to do is just go through and pull out any of the bigger weeds. It's nature, weeds are going to grow, don't worry too much about it, but if we can start off with a nice clean bed, that's always an advantage. And you literally just go through, shake off the material, pull the weeds, and we'll get ready to prep the ground. Right, hands nice and grubby, as it should be. Now we're going to go through, just give it a rake over, really disturb the soil a little bit, even it out nice and smooth, pull out any stick around offending weeds. And that's pretty good. Like with all mushroom growing, a key thing that you're trying to achieve is to reduce competition, whether that be with other mushrooms, other insects, other plants. If you can create an area where the mushroom's on its own to thrive, your production will be far better. So we've set this up, it's good, the ground's ready. Next step is to just go over, soak some cardboard, ready for our weed barrier. Any of you no-dig guys out there will love cardboard, plenty of uses around the plot. My hands are gonna get chilly here. As well as being a weed barrier, it also doubles up and helps to protect the mushrooms in the warmer months. If the ground around them starts to dry out, then you'll find that the cardboard helps to maintain moisture in that specific area. And sometimes that can be the difference between drying out and failure, or moisture and success. So when you're laying your cardboard, it really isn't rocket science. You just peel it open a bit because you don't really want it to be too thick. And if you lay it down into your bed, rough side up, then that'll help with the mushrooms to actually bind to it and then move on and through. Of course, over time, they're going to feed and utilise the nutrients within the cardboard as well. One other little thing to note is, as much as possible, you want to choose cardboard that is free of ink, and also that you've removed the plastic tape, because, well, nobody likes plastic in their garden, basically. So I'm just going to go down now, lay the cardboard around the whole of this bed, and that will form a lovely tight barrier from the weeds. So although we've chosen the winter oyster mushroom, it's also worth mentioning that you do need to be a little bit careful about when you choose to do this. If you were to do it during a cold snap, there's a lot of water involved here, and pretty quickly it'll turn into a mushroom ice cream. So what you need to do is just make sure that you do it ahead of a slightly milder period so that the mushroom can settle in and embed itself in the grow. As we all know, straw as a mulch is a great insulator, and it also produces a little bit of heat, and mushrooms themselves are exothermic, meaning that they excrete heat as well. So the centre of the bed, once a little bit mature, will be resilient to freezing conditions. So anyway, all warnings aside, we're ready to go. So today we're going to be growing on chopped straw and whole straw actually. You could use wood chip or leaf mulch or any of that, basically any organic matter that the mushroom's able to break down, you can use for this. The reason that I love chopped straw is that it's packed full of lignin, packed full of nitrogen, it's readily available, and also, as I mentioned there, it has insulating properties, which makes it really good for during winter months. And what we're going to do is basically use the lasagna method for the chefs out there. And that literally does what it says on the tin. We're going to layer chopped, whole, and then mushroom spawn, one on top of the other repeatedly, until we reach a depth of at least 6 inches. If you know that you're doing this in a really cold time of year, you may wish to go deeper, or if you're doing it in a mild time of year, you could certainly get away with a lot slimmer. Equally, if you were to be doing this as a mulch in amongst your plants, you don't want to stifle your plants with a 12-inch deep mulch. So, you know, it really is situational. You just got to choose what's best for you, but do always bear in mind that if you're doing this in the winter months, a deeper bed is better for you. So when you're doing anything to do with mushroom growing, cultivation, gardening, there's one rule that is above all others, and that is to keep everything damp. You don't want to be introducing your mushroom mycelium into a dry substrate and then leaving it dry. They're really resilient. They can deal with cold, they can deal with warm. What they can't deal with is dry. So as we get stuck into our lasagna method here, we're going to be periodically wetting the substrate as well, and then afterwards we'll give it one last soak. If it's quite a hot climate or you're doing this in the summer, then your bed might well require watering, so just build that into your normal watering routine on your plot. So we're starting with the coarser material, which is the whole straw rather than the chopped stuff, and we're just going to lay down a couple of inches over the whole bed as a base layer. So we've got a lovely base layer. First things first, we're just going to go over and damp the whole lot of it. You'll notice that I'm using a watering can, and I've kind of broken one of my own rules here, which is always check that you're within easy reach of a water source. What I didn't realise was that the water is turned off at the allotment this time round, so there we are. We just have to freestyle it and we'll get by. Beautiful. So that's nice and damp, and we're nearly ready for our first layer of mycelium. So what we've got here is a 3 kilo bag or 5 litres of mushroom grain spawn. You could typically use this to inoculate a 4 metre squared bed if you wanted really quick results, or you could probably even push it to 6 or 8 metres squared if you're okay to wait a little while. You know, what we've got here, it's barely more than sort of 3 metres squared, so I'm probably going to use about half the bag. And there's no real technique. You just want to break up all of the big bits so that you spread the seeds as much as possible and as evenly as possible. The more even your spread, the quicker that the mycelium will occupy the space and be ready to fruit. Also, a nice even spread will reduce the risk of contamination because the mushroom has a head start on all of the other varieties of fungi or molds, etc., etc. So like I say, nice consistent layer around the whole area, and you don't need to go too mad. Cool. Layer 1 done. Now we're ready for some pasta. In order to mix things up a little bit and to just offer the mushroom some rapid nutrient as well as some more slow release nutrients, next layer I'm going to do is some chopped straw. This stuff's a lot finer, the lignin is a lot more available, and this will be the thing that in the early days really gets the mycelium on the front foot. Very little in mushroom farming is neat and precise, so don't worry about it if it gets a bit messy. Great. And next thing, you guessed it, more water. So that's the first layer done. We're now just going to keep repeating that layer, layer, layer until you've reached your required depth. So for us, we'll probably do another 2 or 3 layers of that, and then that will be job done. However, many hands make light work, so I'm going to invite Marcus over now to help me get this one finished off. And that's all of the hard work done. But one thing that you do need to do is keep an eye on your bed at the right times, because you can go from nothing to a full harvestable crop in about 5 days. So you need to really keep an eye on it. What's going to happen now is the mycelium will spread throughout the material, harnessing its nutrients, and then it will just wait for the correct conditions. So in early spring, when the temperature rises again to around about 8 degrees, and it's a lovely clear day, the mushrooms will simply fruit, and you can expect to harvest sort of 5 or 6 times a year out of each of your beds. As I say, you want to be right on it, because not only do we love mushrooms, but so do all of the flies and voles and things like that are around. It's an amazing thing, and it draws in nature and it draws us in as well. Anyway, thanks for joining, and I hope you enjoyed it.